My name is Lindsay, and my husband Garen and I decided to start trying to have a baby back in September of 2013. That's when I decided to go off of birth control and just actively try to have a baby, meaning have sex at the right time of your cycle. And in making that decision, I did some research and figured out that you have to have sex at the right time of the month, like right before ovulation, and you had to figure out when ovulation was. And so I used different things like different apps for that, and OPKs, which are ovulation prediction kits, to see when is the right time to actually ask your husband to come to bed for a purpose. And so that was an interesting learning experience, that while we all go through sex ed and we know what goes where and what happens when certain things happen, but actually figuring out how hard it is to make a baby, it just blew my mind. It's like it's a whole lot harder than other people make it seem like it is. So in our first cycle that we actually tried, you could call it October. Obviously we didn't get pregnant, and they say that you need at least 3 months just coming off of birth control for your body to get back in the right cycle of things. But I was kind of hoping to beat those odds, and actually in December is when we got a big fat positive. And I was so excited when I found out that morning. It was on December 30th that I actually found out, and I wanted to tell my husband right away. I had this big plan in my head that I was going to have like a photo shoot with him and have him close his eyes and then like show him little baby Toms and then have him open his eyes, and then he'd be so shocked and surprised, and then I'd capture it on camera. But that didn't happen because I was too excited when I got it, and I needed to tell him right away. So instead, I took the test and I put it in the shoebox, and then I woke him up and I said, "Garen, open this. I got you a present." And then he opened it and he was like, "Oh, cool, shoes." And I was like, "No, it's not the shoes that matter. It's the test." And so then when he saw the test, he just had the best smile on his face. And I love that moment. I will remember it for the rest of my life because his eyes were so surprised, and it was a beautiful moment. Even if it wasn't captured on camera, I will still remember it forever in my mind. So that was December 30th, like I said, during our third cycle. And unfortunately, when I went back to work, because I'm a teacher, I went back to work, and my anxiety was kind of building up because I have a lot of anxiety about my job. And said to Garen before I went back, I was like, I'm really worried. I feel like I'm going to lose this baby. And looking back on it, sometimes I feel like I jinxed myself, because like a week into returning back to school, I started bleeding, and it didn't stop. So I called the doctor, and they had me go in for blood work right away, and that was on a Friday. And they said I would need to do follow-up blood work on that Monday to actually see the difference in the levels. And actually, it might have been like a different day of the week. I can't exactly remember by now. So I went in for the initial blood work, and they called me after, a day after that, and they said, "Your HCG levels are pretty low." And they said, "Let's see what it looks like for your follow-up blood work." And then a few days later, when I did that follow-up blood work, my levels dropped drastically. And they said because of that they think that the bleeding was due to me miscarrying the baby. And because I was at 6 weeks at that point, it won't be that bad for me, and I wouldn't have to do a D&C, and that they wanted me to just do more blood work a week later, just let what's happening happen to me. And when I went in for that third round of blood work, I mean, the levels were practically non-existent at that point. So they said that I was pretty much done with miscarrying my baby. And that was really hard to deal with. And I think that maybe other people who are actively trying to have a baby can kind of relate to how you force yourself to be positive about things, or just reconcile with what happened to you. And so I was like, oh, well, I guess I can go out for sushi now, and now I can drink wine, and now I can eat a deli sandwich without having to worry about listeria and different things like that. And so for a little while, I just had to just fake being normal and fake being happy, and eventually it just got better, easier. And my body kind of recovered very easily from it. It wasn't that bad at all. My cycle just kind of picked up where it left off in February, and then in March I figured out that I actually have hypothyroidism, which has to do with regulating the hormones in your body. And so I thought maybe that is one of the reasons that I'm kind of having a hard time conceiving a baby. So when I went to the doctor, they put me on some medicine, and then I decided to go see a specialist, an endocrinologist, for that problem, because it wasn't getting any, it got a little better, but it really should, was not at the point where I should be in terms of my energy levels and in my weight gain and things like that. So going to the endocrinologist, he raised my medicine up to a higher dosage, and then after doing a biopsy, which I'd already had one before that time, on my thyroid right here, he said that he thinks I probably should just have it removed, and during that time I shouldn't actually try to have a baby. And that's hard news to take in, because I don't want to waste a single month at this point not trying to have a baby. I want to use every month possible, because I know I'm not that old, but I'm certainly not that young either, being 30 years old. I would like to start having babies sooner than later. But the mama's got to be healthy in order to carry a baby anyway, so I guess I just have to do what the endocrinologist says and put it off. So during the month of July, we're not going to be trying at that point. We need to hold off on it. But at this point, right now, June is my 9th cycle that we have tried. And I just had some spotting today, so I think it's probably going to end in a big fat negative too, just like all the other months. But then maybe July I'll get all fixed. July and August I'll be all fixed, and then I can continue trying after that. So I guess that kind of brings me up to date of where we are in this stage in our life. And I don't know, like I said before, I'm kind of making this video because I have a hard time reaching out to other people that I know in real life. So I thought maybe I could reach out and connect with some people who are sharing the same experience as me over the internet. So, feel free to comment below and tell me about your experiences, and if you've gone through the same things that I am, or whatever you are going through right now. I'd like to hear about it. And thank you for watching. Goodbye, world.